So let's look at a way that we can practice the minor scale that's more applicable and efficient so that we can eventually use it in some of our riff writing and songwriting. And if you want a free PDF version of the tabs for this, along with an MP3 backing track that you can play along to, just click the link in the description below. It takes you right to my website. Just enter your email and there's a free download so you can practice along with this. The first and most important thing is to learn the scale note by note in order so that you understand and can hear how it sounds and get really good at playing it as efficiently as possible. And then eventually we want to move on and start creating more dynamic riffs. So we want to play the notes out of order and skip some of the notes and create bigger and more interesting intervals so it sounds more interesting in our riff writing. And thanks so much for the suggestion on this one. This is a great topic to cover, how we can practice it and how we can play a little more efficiently and use more of an economy style approach so that we're playing it efficiently, but it also sounds really good. And I'll try to get to as many topics and song breakdowns as possible. I got a big list of requests in the comments and I really appreciate it. And again, if I don't get to one that you've requested, just keep reminding me. I have it in the list. I'll eventually get to it. So like in most of my previous videos, we're going to focus on the minor scale on the 5th fret of the 5th string. Again, I'm in a drop tuning. I'm in drop C, but this applies to any drop tuning. And it can still apply to a standard tuning, but this works really, really well for a drop tuning to get that heaviness and to get that more modern metal sound and that classic metalcore sound. So if you aren't already familiar with it, the minor scale on the 5th fret of the 5th string looks like this. And in the riff that I played at the beginning, I used some notes that we'll call extensions, and then I also reached up into the next octave of the minor scale. So if we played 2 octaves of the minor scale, starting on the 5th fret of the 5th string, it would look like this. So in that pattern right there, there's actually 3 root notes being played. I'm in drop C and I'm focusing on the C note, and there's 3 C notes being played. So now we're just adding some extra notes. They're still the same notes, just in different octaves. And this is what can make your riff writing, especially lead playing, a little more interesting. And one really cool thing and important thing to notice in a drop tuning is that anything you play on either one of the C strings, or if you're in drop D tuning, the D strings, and any other drop tuning, the low string and then the 4th string are tuned the same. So anything you play on one string in the scale, you can play on the other string. So for instance, in this scale, the pattern is 5, 7, 8 on both C strings, and it looks like this. So I like to focus that the starting point of the minor scale in this drop tuning is on the 5th fret of the 5th string. But keep in mind, what I play on the 2nd C string or the higher octave C string, I can also play on the lower C string. And that just makes it easy to remember. So the pattern that I'm playing is really pretty simple. I'm just walking up the minor scale and then adding a few extensions in the higher octave of the minor scale. So the real focal point here in this lick is the technique that I'm using in my right hand. And I'm using an economy style picking approach, which just means a little more efficient movement in our picking. And what that generally means is that when you're alternate picking and you move from one string right to the next string and you down pick, you want to continue a down pick into the next string. You can absolutely alternate pick as much as you want. It does sound great. That's just another way of doing it. But then playing a little more efficiently, going from one down pick to the next string and using another down pick just gets there a little more quickly and it uses a little less effort. And that would look something like this. So you can see that my picking hand moves pretty seamlessly and it uses really the least amount of effort while still getting the most out of my picking. So a couple cool things about a lick like this and using it as practice is that you can practice it a lot of different ways and kind of focus on a lot of different things. So for one, we're obviously focusing on our right hand picking, and we're using an alternate and economy style picking. Again, you can absolutely just alternate pick a riff like this and you're still going to get a lot of practice and a lot of work, and it's going to sound good. Another thing we're working on is our independence and dexterity in the fingers in our left hand. So this way we don't get stuck just playing things straightforward, like playing the scale up and down. We get used to kind of skipping around and using fingers that we don't focus on as much, especially our third finger and our fourth finger. And another cool thing about playing a riff like this and using it to practice is that it can be applied in many different scenarios. So this is something that can be played as a lead over top of a rhythm riff, just like I did at the beginning of this video, or it can be its own riff, so we can just kind of start it as is and apply the drums and the bass to this riff. So hopefully you find this video helpful and it helps you to write a little more interesting and dynamic sounding riffs, and hopefully it's a great way for you to practice your right hand and your left hand independence in your fingers. As always, thank you so much for the support. Like I said, I'll get to as many topics and songs that I can. And if you are interested in one-on-one private lessons, I do offer virtual lessons online. And you can also find that by clicking the link to my site in the description. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to hear more about your goals and how I can help you achieve them. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I post these videos. And as always, remember, don't get frustrated. Start small, start with one thing, get as good as you possibly can, and then build from there, and you'll see a lot of progress. See you in the next one.